Hello, Nigerians and lovers of Nigeria. We are here again, and we're glad you are able to make it to our live session this evening. I'm here with my colleague, Ifoma, and we are going to be bringing to you live tonight the real thing that is happening. Number one, there is already jittery amongst the judiciary circles in Nigeria because of the Chicago State University staff deposition. The deposition, of course, revealed a whole lot. It confirmed a whole lot. We all know about the 33-page document that was released day before yesterday. And there has been a whole lot of media propaganda. It is understandable. Politicians, they have money, so they have a way of buying their way through the media to do what we call public relation. Public relation in that they will subtly tell you what they want you to hear to present their paymaster in a good way. So this night, we're going to do our best to debunk some of those, sponsored speeches in the media, especially the mainstream media in Nigeria, that is making it look like there is no smoking gun in the deposition. There is no smoking gun in the document that was reviewed. And we will also appreciate those who, in their own media representation, have been as objective as they would have been to be able to analyze things. But one thing we must know is that the judiciary in Nigeria is priming. They're making statements again in such a way as to tell Nigerians it's what they think. It's not what we want. It's not the justice we deserve. And we're going to start with a video clip of our Chief Justice that we heard. Can you please play that video clip and let's take it from there?
The newly appointed judges of the Federal High Court have just taken the oath of office. This is a requirement prescribed by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. By virtue of the oath you have just taken, my lords, you have automatically assumed new status and responsibilities in life. A new blank page in the book of life has just been opened for you. And as it is with public office, especially the judiciary, you are completely open to daily public scrutiny. The pen is right there in your hand to write whatever you desire to be the content of the new page that is now openly displayed in the public domain. Several vitriolic attacks are regularly opened and heaped on the judiciary. It is, however, crystal clear that public opinion, no matter how serious or weighty it might be, cannot override or supersede the Constitution of the country, which we aptly apply in deciding each case before the court. Nevertheless, your lordship still owe your conscience and the generality of the Nigerian masses, particularly those who are looking up to you, the great responsibility of good moral rectitude and acceptable conduct to uphold and consolidate the trust reposed in you.
All right, let us start. I just want to highlight a few phrases mentioned here. The first one is write whatever. Write whatever. The Chief Justice had just told the newly appointed judges to write whatever they deem is the justice. Fine, that's no problem about that, okay? Even though we know there are guides to know what is the right thing. Then he said again, then these are new judges that were appointed. Nigerians, have you noticed one thing? That in the course of this new administration, there has been a massive shaking, overhauling in the judiciary. There has been a massive change in the Supreme Court with the number of, I think, about 13 or more than 10 new justices appointed into the Supreme Court by this same administration that is not more than 4 months. Now, the question we need to ask ourselves before we go further is, who are these judges? If you remember what Chidi Odinkalu said and the other analysts, majority of these new judges were appointed, pushed, and sponsored by one politician or the other. So the question we need to begin to ask ourselves is, what caliber, I'm not talking about in terms of their qualification. Yes, they are qualified in terms of their competence, but what is the influence? Who are their paymasters? Who are the person they are going to sit on the bench to represent his or her interest? Senator Bull Kachawa told us in the chambers of the Senate that he, a senator, used to influence his wife, who was not just an ordinary judge, but the president of the second highest court in the land, an appellate court, appeal court. And Chidi Odinkalu told us that one of the parting gifts they gave to some judges when they are retiring, especially in the Supreme Court or in the appeal court, is for them to bring their own blood sons or blood daughters to the bench to become judges, so that the cycle of the subjugation of Nigerians will continue. And then, before we move away from this, with respect to the Supreme Court hearing the case of the presidential election appeal that is currently waiting for them, the Chief Judge, as you can see here, the very first statement he made after greeting the dignitaries was to say that the judges are always being called to let me put it this way, to act responsibly. But instead of telling the judges that you know that the masses are always calling on you people to do your thing, he said vitriolic. He chose the word vitriolic. Now, if you're listening to Americans when they do their presidential debates, or listening to even in the UK or this, that's what they call the body language experts that could analyze speeches and analyze body language. For the Chief Justice of the Federation to lack the restraint when he's making an official speech, to the extent that he used this kind of adjective to qualify the demand being placed on the judges by Nigerians, vitriolic. It tells you the mindset of these elites, the way they look at us, the common people. It tells you that this awakening we have today, this political consciousness that is growing amongst us, is hurting them, is annoying them, is making them angry. But let's look at it this way. Have they been as diligent, accountable, and responsible as they would be? And we chose to scream at them, even if we are screaming at them? Is it not because by their judgments, they have shown that they can deliver judgment, but not justice? That's why we are worried. That's why we are calling on them. That's why we are saying to them, all eyes on you. I mean, just take a look at what happened in the United States of America and what has been happening in Nigeria. Did we say that the two judges that handled the case of Atiku Abubakar versus Tinubu handled it well because they were in favor of a particular party, no. They handled it well by our judgment because of the speed, because of the commitment they gave to it, because of the fair hearing, and the speed with which they deliver judgment. If Nigerian judges and courts had been acting like that court in Chicago, would we be complaining? Would we even be making the statement that the highest judge in the land will qualify as vitriolic? I think I consider it lack of restraint to have made that statement. And Nigerians, I am not trying to preempt anybody, but it goes to tell us what we are up against. The Supreme Court, the panel that will be appointed by the Chief Justice of the Federation, who regard we the masses as vitriolic people, will be sitting to adjudicate on this matter. May God be our judge who can come down on earth to intervene for us, because the mountains are too high. Let's move on. The next thing I want us to touch now is what is happening in the media. There has been one side of the story, those who are singing the praise of the president, that finally, all the purported sin we say he committed has been washed away. Now, the angels from heaven came down and have showcased that he's as clean, as white as snow. And there are others who say there may be some skeleton in the cupboard. But let's look at what is happening in the media and lend our own thoughts. Thank you. Let's start.
Rest in peace. We miss Mohbad. Well, let's continue on what's trending. The Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria on Tuesday urged the Supreme Court of Nigeria to disqualify President Bola Ahmed Tinubu from office or compel him to resign over alleged identity theft and certificate forgery. Huriwa made the call in a press statement following the revelation that the academic record from Southwest College, which Tinubu used in gaining admission into the Chicago State University, belonged to a woman. The civil society group said the documents released by CSU to former Vice President Atiku Abubakar showed that Tinubu was enrolled as a female student with the name Bola Adekunle Tinubu. Huriwa described the revelation as a shocking and shameful case of identity theft and certificate forgery. I mean, this is not the first time Huriwa is, making a case against the Tinubu administration, Dr. Abati. But if you could recall, in those documents released by CSU, they did say that, this female on that Southwest College was a clerical error. I don't know what your thoughts are, but, they made a comment that I thought was quite funny. And they said that, the Supreme Court should not behave like Judas in the Bible, and they should take this case up seriously.
Okay, yesterday on this program, I was talking about the principle of open justice, which is the basic justification, whereby, when there is a matter before the court of law, even mechanics and vulcanizers and all kinds of persons will get involved in it. Everybody has an opinion, whether it is informed or uninformed. But the principle, as established by Jeremy Bentham, 18th century English philosopher, is that publicity is the soul of justice, and that the judges in trying are also invariably on trial. So you find all kinds of perspectives and people insisting on their rights. Where are we on this matter? Yesterday, when we were discussing, we said we were waiting for the deposition.
Yes. And
that happened yesterday. CSU, Chicago State University, was represented by a man called Carl Westberg, and the lawyer who is the registrar of Chicago State University, and also by a gentleman called Michael Hayes, representing CSU. Henderson and Oluwole Afolabi appeared for the intervener, in this case, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President of Nigeria. And then there were 5 other lawyers who joined by Zoom. But the deposition by Carl Westberg is what I want to summarize very quickly. 1, he said that the person who is President of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is the same person that attended Chicago State University. 2, he confirmed that a certain gentleman called Adeniji, who had come forward to say he was Tinubu's classmate, in fact, was also a student in the university at the same time, and they both ran for students' union position. 3, he said in the United States, the emphasis is not on diploma, that the diploma that were, that the PDP and Atiku Abubakar are looking for, it's just a ceremonial document, that what is at issue, what they will give out is transcript. 3, he said the F that is on that Southwest College, document, that it was a clerical error, which you yourself had acknowledged, and that it could happen. But that Southwest College is a major feeder source for Chicago State University. Number 4, he also pointed out that, look, there have been about 6 registrars since 1979, and he was not there, although he's now the current registrar. And the documents by all, all documents that they refer to in the process, that those documents, that Oluwole Afolabi counsel to Bola Ahmed Tinubu and asked that they should be certified, that they don't certify documents. That 4, or is it 5 now, that the replacement that Bola Ahmed Tinubu asked for, right, that they usually don't replace certificates, because that those certificates are issued by vendors. If you ask for transcript, they give you your transcript. 5, he also made the point about the matter you raised yesterday, that the certificates that they have in their custody are certificates that have not been collected by students. And it happens. Some students will graduate, they will not collect their certificates. So it's possible to show representation of what appeared. So these are, the major submissions by Caleb Westberg. That is that about that. Because yesterday we were saying we'll wait for those depositions. I asked the question yesterday, are there any smoking guns in the document? By the testimony of Westberg, we can conclude that by that testimony, there are no smoking guns for those who are looking for smoking guns. Third point to go forward is that this trip to the US...
Let him finish. Don't worry. Let him finish.
Has been for discovery for use.
Yeah, you've made that point.
Discovery for use. Okay, this discovery for use. You then ask 2 major questions, which are very relevant at the center of this, beyond emotions. What is the probative value of this, what we have now discovered? What is the utilitarian value? The Constitution makes it very clear that, you can't advance evidence that were not originally pleaded. It's just pure principle. You front load your evidence, and then the defense will file their response. You don't come and plead.
Okay. Let's take. I'm not dealing with anybody now. I am sitting with Reuben Abati now. Let's handle it. Did you observe how carefully our dearly beloved Reuben managed this? Reuben Abati had been a presidential spokesperson. And one thing that presidential spokespersons do is, when the government of the Oga messes up, they are the mouthpiece that comes to do what? Find a way to make a message out of the mess. The duty of a presidential spokesman is to see how the lemon that is being thrown at the Oga can be tweaked and become a lemonade. And Reuben has not departed from that path. Let's start. He said the replacement, that they don't issue replacement. There is no university in this world, except back in our country, Nigeria, that don't issue a replacement certificate. In fact, if you go to the website of Chicago State University, it's a small amount of money you will pay. I don't have it offhand now to say whether it is less than $100 or less than $200. But if you pay it, they will issue you a replacement certificate. Let's keep it there. Before I come down to Nigeria, let's just finish with Reuben's deposition protective defense. Number 2, he said that the deposition, that they said that the F that is written in Southwest College is a clerical error. Please let me ask, Is it in the power of any Chicago State University staff to defend a document they did not issue? The document, the Southwest College document, was issued by Southwest College, not by Chicago State University. And somebody walked into the office of the Southwest College to pick it, or somebody sent it by courier from Southwest College as a feeder institute to Chicago State University. And they looked at it. They did not spot that this gender was F. And they also did not spot that even the date of birth was completely wiped out. And Reuben is saying that the Chicago State University says it's a clerical error. Are they taking on the responsibility of the error of another institution? Let us see that, spot the difference there. Thirdly, yes, of course, we do know that the certificate we frame and put, I have a lot here, that is a ceremonial document, isn't it? We do know. When I made application in Nigeria to do my master's degree from University of Nigeria, I was also asked to bring not my certificate, but my transcript. When I made application overseas, they asked for my transcript. But that did not mean that the certificate was not issued. Electoral Act and our Constitution did not say you will be disqualified if you are found not to have transcripts, but certificate. It says any certificate, not even academic certificate. That is why NYSC certificate, which is also a ceremonial document, has disqualified a lot of people from participating, from continuing in their office as governors, as members of House of Rep and what have you. Is it not true? So what Reuben chose not to remind himself, because we are not deceived, is the fact that the substantive case is not even whether somebody went to the university. The substantive case is that Section 137, subsection, I've forgotten, I have a lot quote in my head, something J, where it was obvious that somebody, just give me a second, that someone, it says if you submit, you'll be disqualified. You will be disqualified from office or from contesting if you are found to have submitted, quote me again, a forged certificate. A forged certificate. I have the transcript with me. And in the deposition, they asked the Chicago State University person, this certificate bearing INEC stamp, have you seen it before? He said yes, that he has seen it in the course of this litigation. They asked him again, aside from in the course of this litigation, does it mean you have never seen it before? He said yes. And this is people who are from the registrar's office. The deposition confirmed that the document that was given to a body in Nigeria did not emanate from the university. Call it ceremonial, fine. The ceremonial paper you gave in Nigeria was not issued by the institution where you did the ceremony. Is that not what you're talking about here? But Reuben is packaging it as if what the Chicago State University people are saying has rendered what was submitted to the INEC null and void. No, Reuben, you missed it. And I am calling Reuben on behalf of all the people. Go to TVC, go to PM News. All of them are running with this PR damage control media management. It's called public relation. It's called public relation. We were taught how to do this. I have a postgraduate diploma in public relations, so I can tell you when a PR man is trying to polish a damaged image. That's what he's doing. He said again here that the date, okay, it says the emphasis on the ceremony, that there's no smoking gun. How can you say that there is no smoking gun? How can you say? Reuben chose not to remind us that a certificate, a Cambridge certificate that was presented to Chicago State University was purported to have been issued before the school that could have released the certificate even came into existence. He omitted it. Anybody who is bumping into him for the first time will say, so this is a fishing expedition. So the smoking gun here is that whether the Supreme Court grants Atiku his prayer or not, the smoking gun number one is that there is a forgery pattern of behavior that did not start today. It started before many of us were born. It's a pattern that happened as far back as probably 1976. And so the one that happened this latest time is not a mistake. It is in the character of the people who have been doing it. That is a smoking gun. The smoking gun again is that the paper that was given in Nigeria was not given by the people that the giver claimed gave it to him. And which means the names of the people who signed those things were manipulated. And this man said there is no smoking gun. To him, is the smoking gun about the gavel of the Supreme Court or the knowledge that Nigeria has now officially confirmed? Let me ask you a question. If you're a politician here, even if, okay, let's use someone like Obasanjo, someone like late Sheikh Musa Yaradua, or someone like Buhari that just left, or Goodluck Jonathan. Assuming you have finished, the person had finished serving as a president and left, and all this information start popping up, and you are the person's child, and you find yourself in an aircraft where they're discussing about your dad, tracing back certificate forgery, even before your mom was married, would you be proud in that aircraft? And this man is saying that there's no smoking gun. Come on. If this man is saying that there's no smoking gun, I read the content. I read the comment in that particular video clip. The first person said, you know what the first comment there said? It says, you must have a criminal mind to be defending people that carried out criminal activity. And that closed the case. Let's move on.
Thanks for having me.
All right. So how would you review the release of President Tinubu's academic records to Mr. Atiku Abubakar? Has anything changed so far?
Well, I would say, yeah, a couple of things have changed. One, it's been established for a fact now that Tinubu did attend and graduate from the university, from Chicago State University. So that fact has been established. And it has also been established that it was he who actually did attend the university. But we also learned from the documents that were released that he presented a transcript that contained F as the marker of gender identity. And F, of course, everyone knows that's female. So that calls to question the real identity of the person who attended Southwest College, which later became Daly College. But in the deposition that I read, the registrar of the university said that was a clerical error, and that the records of his signatures and handwriting that he have at CSU is consistent with the signature he signed when he asked someone else to collect some of his documents on his behalf. So we have established that he attended the university, he graduated from it. But the other issue is the certificate that he presented to INEC. It's now clear that that certificate was forged. The registrar said they did not recognize it. It was not an authentic document that emanated from their school. But for I want to give a little context here for the benefit of people who do not understand the American system. Here, certificates, or what we call here diplomas, are merely decorative, celebratory documents. They don't mean anything. Most employers will not ask you for your certificate. So it's not the same kind of importance that it has in Nigeria and maybe in Britain. If employers want to verify the authenticity of your claims to have attended and graduated from an institution, what they do is to ask for your transcripts. Even high schools here, secondary schools have transcripts. So even if you have people want to verify your secondary school attendance,
with all due respect to Dr. Berogi, Dr. Berogi wrote yesterday, and I mean, his article has been everywhere. He's an associate professor. He lives in I think in the US. He lives in Atlanta or something of that nature. An intelligent man. But I think Dr. Berogi is missing something here. I would like to bring his thoughts back to it if he's hearing me. And that's the fact that when the Chicago State University people say under the deposition that certificates are mere ceremony, we are not questioning that. The law we are trying to defend here in Nigeria with respect to our election, we have said it, even if it is a letter of recommendation or a letter of support for your charity donation, that is what you want to submit to INEC to show I am a charitable person. As you see me like this, I have a large heart. And when I become president or governor, Nigeria will know. Please tell them that I dropped this certificate. If it is found to be manipulated by you, it is a forged certificate. So we don't care if it is a ceremonial document or not. Therefore, if someone did not have a certificate, like this man will eventually tell us, he himself went to the website, he lives in America, to the website of Chicago State University and found that with a few chicken change, that even if you're vying for a counselor in Nigeria, you can afford that amount of money. This university will reissue you a new ceremonial document. So why did we have to forge the ceremonial document? That's number one. Number two, to his credit, and I am happy that this happened in the same Arise TV. Imagine the little information he has dropped here. Compare it with the quote and unquote, the professional lawyer and broadcaster, Reuben Abati. Just compare two of them. You will see someone who is saying, based on what I know, and someone who is speaking to polish someone, to dress someone up. Nigeria, that is what I wanted to point out to us. Let's go. Let's continue.
Ask for your secondary school transcript. And you could see that the registrar was mystified, even discombobulated by the importance that Nigerians seem to be attaching to the document. And he says, well, he graduated from here. That we can confirm. But the certificate he used to verify that graduation is not from us. So these are the two issues that I see here. Of course, the other one is the pre-university certificate that he presented. Shows that he took an HSC exam, GCA levels, and it's sort of mysterious because he said he graduated from Government College, Lagos, but we know that Government College, Lagos was not established until 1974. So he made this claim in 1975. So the school was only a year old when he said he graduated from it. And as I pointed out earlier, the HSC is a 2-year course of study beyond the secondary school. And to have earned a GCA level result in 1970 means that you must have graduated from high school, secondary school in 1968. So by 1968, that school did not exist. So there are questions now. There are still questions being asked. So one, we've established that he attended Chicago State University and graduated from it. There's no question about that now. Two, we have established that the certificate that Atiku's lawyers have presented as that which he presented to INEC is fake. So, and the question that I asked in my intervention is, this is mysterious self-harm.
Sorry.
Why would you do that to yourself?
Can we pause?
I graduated from a college, from a university.
Sorry, just so we don't lose the track of what is it. Do you know that what he is saying here, he is reporting based on the deposition? Is it not true? Now, look at how he's bringing both the pros and the cons, both the one that favored him and the one that did not favor him. And look at how Reuben Abati clipped off everything. In fact, even the one that did not favor him, he just wrapped it up like a beautiful pie. He did not even as much as mention that there is a certificate that was fake here, which the university has confirmed. Did you notice that? I'm saying this so that we know how including the media personalities are helping to destroy democracy. Thank God for the awareness Nigerians are getting today. Because what made most of these media personalities because there is a body that gives them a suit and give them tie and polish their face with big cameras. They don't research like many other Nigerians. All right. So this thing he's saying is what came from the deposition. Continue.
It's certain. I'm not making that up. But then the certificate that I used to justify this legitimate and true and valid claim is fake. Why would you do that? And I prognosticated, I guessed that he must have lost his certificate, and instead of applying for it, waited until the last minute and realized that to get a replacement certificate would take up to 10 weeks. Because I went to the website of the Chicago State University and I realized it costs just $26 to ask for a replacement, but then it takes between 8 and 10 weeks for you to get it back. So if you're doing that at the last minute, you might realize that, well, you can't get it. So
okay,
a lot of things are being modeled here, which is... Let
me come in. Someone who had been a governor knew that you must submit documents to INEC prior to the election. That's number one. And that person submitted documents that caused questions. Do you even know that today is the 24th year anniversary? Today is 4th or 5th. Today is October. Okay, tomorrow October 4th. Tomorrow being October 5th, will make it 24 years that Gani Fawemi approached the Supreme Court of the Federal Republic of Nigeria on this matter, on this same matter. And tomorrow being 5th of October, the 24th year anniversary of this same case, Atiku Abubakar will be approaching the Supreme Court with his extra evidence. What is significance? And so, someone who has gone through that path, you know, he's trying to make excuse for him. Honestly, you know me, I've also been here and I made the same excuses. So you understand where I'm coming from. So I'm not blaming him. I'm just trying to say some of my excuses are mischievous, so to say. Now, someone who has been through that path and also submitted documents in 2003 for second term and have sponsored governors since 2007 and then 2011 and then 2015 and even made someone a president according to him in 2015. Is it possible that all of a sudden he realized that, hey, I need to submit document and I don't have it. And if I go to my former university, it will take 10 weeks. Have you seen it? $26 is what it will take for a replacement certificate. Remember that Reuben Abati says that the deposition people say replacement is not something they do. How did they attach figure to it? How did they attach figure to it? Even in the Western world, you throw away your marriage certificate, you pay another money, and they will send you a replacement marriage certificate. Period. It is a known fact. In Nigeria, we may not give a replacement certificate. That's where we give certified true copy, saying the original is lost. We are certifying this photocopy. It's the same thing. Now, I don't think that this particular, help them with excuse my friend here is making. He's just saying as one of his theories. But of course, we can debunk this theory. It did not occur to them. And if you see pattern way back, according to him, to 1968, you see that it's something they have always been doing it and succeeding. So do it again, but one day. So let's go on.
Does the fact that he forged the certificate invalidate the legitimacy of his claim that he attended university? No. So these are completely different issues. It's like I graduated from the school. It's certain that has been established. But then these are, of course, different cultural issues. If he were in the United States, no one would ask for his diploma. They would ask for his transcript. And the transcript, you don't provide a transcript directly as a student. You write to your university to direct them to release a transcript to the people who are asking for it. That's the way it works here. So no one directly gives that evidence to whoever is asking for it. You have to waive your right to conceal your academic records because there's a rule called FERPA. It's a federal law that says no one can have access to anyone's academic records unless that person expressly permits it or if the courts force the university to do it. So if you ask, if an employer asks for your records to verify or validate your claims to have graduated from a high school or a university, you have to write a form. You have to fill out a form to say, okay, release my documents, it's me. And if you don't have a signature, because it's not possible to write a signature, your social security number will verify identity. So that's the way it works.
Now, thank you so much for that detailed explanation. Before the documents were released, the president, through his lawyers, had tried to block the release, saying it will cause them severe harm and that it will not be admissible in the ongoing petition against him in Nigeria. But I'm wondering, what impact, do you think it will have any significant impact on the appeal at the Supreme Court that Atiku Abubakar has filed, especially when you consider the way the Election Petition Tribunal ruled in the first instance?
Well, not being a lawyer, I I can't speculate as to how the Supreme Court is going to rule on this. We have a Supreme Court that is now predictable, that does not respect precedents, that is very mysterious in its judgments. So it's not an exercise that I'm prepared to partake in. A Supreme Court that allowed someone who came fourth in an election to be declared a winner. A Supreme Court that says a governorship election in which someone clearly won was invalid because deputy had a certificate that had different names from where he bears. I mean, those things frankly don't make any sense, but we just look forward to what the Supreme Court says. But and there are arguments, lawyers never agree on anything. Some set of lawyers say new evidence cannot be accepted in court. Other lawyers say, well, no, it can be accepted. But here, this forgery, frankly, it's a very unconventional forgery. And we're going to see, because it's what I call it unconventional, because people typically associate forgery with making stuff up that you do not possess, that you do not have. If, for instance, he did not attend Chicago State University and decided to get a certificate indicating that he attended, that's what we understand forgery to mean. But in this case, he did attend Chicago State University. He graduated from there with honors. And the registrar said even the F that appeared in the transcript that he showed was a clerical error because his performance at Southwest.
Yesterday, whilst we were here, we read to us the judgment of the Supreme Court of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in previous election cases, which was corroborated by the appeal court in another case of election case, where they defined forgery in two forms. One, creating of a document that does not exist. That is a classical organic forgery. Or modifying an existing document, which I will call a hybrid forgery. So, my brother, with all due respect, you are making a good sense here, but I think the better sense is for you to say our court, our Supreme Court judges, they have defined forgery in two forms. Like you said, ordinarily, forgery will be creating something. But now you can modify something and call it forgery, which is like taking something that exists and panel beating it and shifting it somehow, or creating something entirely. Our Supreme Court have defined it. Supreme and Appeal Court. Remember that you people gave that definition. Remember it. Thank you. Go ahead.
College and his performance at Chicago State University are consistent because he graduated with honors in both. And I asked in my intervention yesterday, if someone were to get a diploma or a certificate belonging to someone else and use that as a basis to get admission to study the same course, I don't expect them to perform as well in that course as they did in previous classes. So there's some consistency in the performance from both Southwest College and Chicago State University.
Can I come in?
Indicating,
please? If someone stole someone's certificate, the thief can actually perform even better than the person he or she stole the certificate that he stole. You agree with me? Because someone may not necessarily steal someone's certificate because of his inability to pass that course, but because of the need to badge through at a particular point in time. You agree with me? So this logic here is non sequitur, so to say, oh, he performed well in Chicago State University, and the transcripts show that he performed well too. That is not consistent argument. That is not a logical thing. It is very, very, very possible for Mr. A to steal Mr. B's document and use it for an interview as a qualifying document, and in that interview, even perform more spectacularly than Mr. A would have been. The only thing is that Mr. A did not have the pre-qualifying credentials for some reason or the other. And he need to have it. And he was able to grab it somewhere and use it. Armed robbers steal people's car. Do they beg the owner of the car to drive it for them? They are drivers themselves. So if we follow in the line of this logic, it means that if someone steals someone's car, he must make mistake in driving the car because it is not his own. No, he can even drive better. In fact, some people, when they steal some people's car, even the person they stole their car will be wondering, is this my car? I never even know my car can run like this and swerve like this and do this kind of show. So that's not that's not an issue. But I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying Perugi anyway. Go ahead.
That is the same person, and we know that that person is the person we know today as Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But why he did not have the patience to apply and get the certificate he needed to verify and validate his graduation is what I didn't know. So what do you call that sort of forgery? It's not a forgery to verify false. It's not a forgery based on false pretenses. It's forgery based on carelessness, overconfidence. Maybe I think the predilection to just do things, without care, without thought, without preparation. That's what that strikes me as. So the Supreme Court is going to debate.
No. I would rather call it forgery based on overconfidence, not carelessness. Forgery, and how I can build my theory to conclude that this my hypothesis. The reason why I say it is forgery based on overconfidence is because, when someone look at his shoulder and see how much he's been able to achieve using a particular method, he will see it as what the children would say, easy peasy. I've done it before. I could do it again. It's a no deal. Remember that in those days, in the 60s and in the 70s, when you finish your secondary school and write what we call WAEC, what WAEC later took over, those exams are set by Cambridge University and sent to Nigerians and to many other countries that were colonized by the British. You write the exams. When you pass it, they will issue a certificate from Cambridge. So if someone possibly played Cambridge as far back as in the 70s, played Cambridge, that is in Europe, and use Cambridge that he played to play a university in North America, United States of America, and use it to stay in the university to graduate. Come on. Where records are kept. Do you know that the letters written by King Henry VIII is still in the British Library to date? The letters written in the 16th centuries, the physical letter in their handwriting are still kept. The letters of the United States Constitution written more than a century ago is still kept. Those people know how to keep record. But in Nigeria, we don't know how to keep record. In Nigeria, we know how to move and abandon and go. So if I have dealt, for instance, if I have dealt with Britain, dealt with America, and I conquered all of them. In fact, when I have a case of drug issue, the person ran away, and and according to our judges, they cut his bank account and charged his bank account. Physically, they couldn't catch him. Is it our INEC? Is it our Nigerian system that he cannot just close his eyes and say, I beg, make una go give these people who them be served? So my brother, you go there, you go right, you come to the center. I'm not saying you go left. You go right, you come to
what kind of forgery this is. So there's both the spirit and the letter of the law. The letter of the law says if you forge a document, you should be disqualified. But the spirit is, what does forgery mean? Forgery, to present yourself as that which you are not, or forgery that comes out of carelessness, because he, as I said, did clearly attend and graduate from the school. So that's the legal dilemma, I think, that the Supreme Court will have to interpret.
Very good. Unfortunately, the issue refused to die down, and of course, social media has its own version of the narratives. Now we're hearing that the F on that certificate actually belongs to a medical doctor bearing the the same name with Bola Tinubu.
Okay,
can you give more insight on that?
Sorry, I think we should stop here because of time. I've got another meeting I'm going to catch up with now. But let's summarize it this way. My own summary is this. The law did not say if you submit a forged document and you're not able to prove the reason why you did it, you'll be disqualified. No, it says if you submit a forged document. So the letter of the law here, there is no spirit. The spirit of the law there is because forgery has done us many things. And our judges and our courts have said anybody caught doing it for whatever reason should not. In fact, the judge recommended, after in the case of the PDP people in Benue State, that that person should be barred from even taking political office again. That is the spirit of the law, which is the mischief that that law wants to cure, is the reputational damage things like forgery has done to Nigeria. We want to stop it. And if the court sees any other thing further than this, they're on their own. Need I remind our judiciary once again, they can call us vitriolic, they can call us anything they want to call us. But one young man told us to go and verify. We have been doing verification exercise for almost 1 year now. And look what we found. Just take a look at what we found in the past 1 year. Our verification exercise, governors forging NYSC certificate, president forging GCE as far back as 1970, and all these things. Nigeria is no longer the same. So if Reuben Abati said there is no smoking gun, there is a smoking gun. Nigeria is no longer the same. That mystery, that's, are we sure or are we not sure, that lasted for 24 years? We now know which is which. And it will continue like that. In 2027, all of them now, any one of them that wants to forge certificate should forge it now, check it, send it, manipulate it, test it before presenting it, because we are watching. At least we are watching. I hope that this will be the end of certificate forgery. And you know, the judiciary may do us well by making those who have forged to pay severely for it so that they can be deterred. But if they want to use technicality to pamper them, to polish them, to exonerate them, they're on their own. They should know the implication of the seed they are planting today with their judgment, because it will harden these politicians. These politicians are they can be mean. If you give a judgment that will make them to continue what they're doing, you are killing our democracy. Judiciary should know that they are the only arm of government where they grow professionally to the height where they are. And they are the only arm of government that can actually checkmate the other two arms, because the other two arms are professional politicians. Whether they're in the executive or in the legislature, they're all pursuing one thing. It's all about them, and they can do anything to get there. Judiciary, please be the moderator. Be the moderator. Discourage things that can destroy our democracy. Stay away from the technicalities that will entrench, perpetuate, and make these people feel secured in the world where they are. That's the way I want to end my own thought this night. And I say to Nigerians, we meet again tomorrow. I don't know what you want to say before we close. Are you there?
Yeah, Doc. My mic is having an issue. Thank you very much for your contribution. Yeah, I don't really have much to say because it's very clear all the analysis you made. I just want to believe that the judiciary will not fail the Nigerian people because as it stands now, all eyes on the judiciary. That is just it, because they will be the one to decide this case. No matter what people say, they will still be the one to decide. And like the video we played, we heard what the CGN is saying. They just think that people are talking about them. But we are trying to like tell them to remember what is in the Constitution. They should remember that they are there to defend the Nigerian people, not for their own interests. We want to build a better future. And this is the only institution that is there to help Nigerians to actualize this new Nigeria that we are looking forward to. So that is all I have for tonight. So guys, thank you very much for joining us this night. We are just hoping that a new Nigeria will come. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel for future updates, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell for future updates. So thank you very much for your contributions.
Thank
We
you
meet
too.
here again tomorrow. Good night.
Good night. All right. Bye.